And we live. And we are live on set. It's your boy Cody here. What's the word? And we took the show on the road. I'm here with my best friend and my co-host Bree. Specific. What's going on, Bree?
Are we best friends?
I don't know that you got that Morticia outfit on.
Morticia is crazy. It's not giving Morticia. I was thinking
it's giving Adam's family.
auntie at the family barbecue, chill. I got the little bejazzled slats on.
Nobody care about your outfit. We care about the guests that we got on here to the left of us. We got my boy Knowledge Beckom. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, bro. How you doing, man? Appreciate you.
And we got Lil Rel in the building. What's going on? What you got?
What up?
All right.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. So we on this hot sunny day. This is the kickoff for the What's Funny Comedy Festival. You know what I mean? The first annual. So give us a little bit of background of like how this thing came about.
Yeah, so I started doing comedy in 2006 from a production standpoint, putting together shows, etc. But that didn't start until I met Rel. So we were introduced to each other in about 2006. I managed Rel for about 7 years while he was here in Chicago, up until the point that he moved to New York. That was about 2013, right? I kind of stepped away from comedy for roughly about 10 or 11 years, maybe doing a couple shows in between that time. But earlier this year, I decided that I wanted to come back into Chicago. I thought the comedy landscape in Chicago had changed. Obviously, I saw the success Rel was having, and I'm like, where's the next Rel in Chicago? I really didn't see him, and not that they're not talented. A lot of it, in my opinion, has to do with, like, opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so I decided that I was going to come back in, but I didn't want to come back in with a single show. Like, I want to do something bigger. And so that's where the idea of the comedy festival came apart. And I literally was just going to do maybe a couple days, maybe about 4 shows around the DuSable, and then get back into it. But then I happened to go out to L.A. at one point, just kind of hanging out or what have you. I like L.A. Bumped into Rel. We decided to connect. I was kind of telling him my idea about getting back into comedy, and I was thinking about doing a festival. And from that point on, it's kind of grown to what you saw today in terms of his experience, his understanding, his love for comedy, just kind of continuing to add more and more to what it is now, which is a 7-day festival, 9 shows across 5 venues with 62 comics, including Rel.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's a lot of energy, man. 62 people.
It's a lot of
sound
energy.
7 days.
It sounds like a lot, but like that used to be a normal week in Chicago.
Really?
Facts.
Yeah, like it used when I started in stand up here, you know, we had cats coming from Detroit, Atlanta, Miami, all over the country that would just come crash on each other's couches just to do a whole run in Chicago for a whole week. This was a money getter Chicago was at one time. So
I never knew that.
It's so interesting because I mean, like, and that's what we was talking about. Like that doesn't exist anymore. And unfortunately, I think about like I like to call everybody that's probably like 30 and under the new grown-ups.
The new grown-ups.
Y'all missed out on
We
a
adulted for sure.
crazy run that was going on in comedy in Chicago. It was crazy and so much fun. It was comedy every day of the week.
So do you think that like that era wasn't publicized enough, or because I know what was that it was like a comedy documentary that came out earlier this year that I watched about a comedy spot in L.A.
Yeah.
that everybody used to go to.
Well, everybody had the nights, and that's what's interesting about that too. And that's one of the things with this festival, and hopefully me and Knowledge talked about this before, is even documentaries I want to lean more into because there's so much history, especially with black comics. What you saw about the LA documentary, it was Chicago. Like Bernie Mac had a hot spot at one time. Like, you know, it was Damon Williams and D. Ray. D. Ray had one of the hottest Sundays in the country. You know what I mean? That's basically how he paid for his Hollywood career, was because of the night he had here in Chicago. So it was rooms, like powerful rooms. At one time, Damon used to literally do a tape for all of us to do Comic View. We'd do one night at his spot. He'll put all of us on tape. He wouldn't edit it and just send it to BET. And you had like 20 cats that went up that night and did like 5 minutes. And most of us end up taping Comic View because of those tapes. So it's such rich history with this. And I think that was one of the reasons why when he brought, you know, the idea of the festival to me, I'm like, Knowledge, dude, we got to do this.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the first. Somebody else approached me about doing a festival, but they didn't have like, when I was pitching them the more passion stuff than the other stuff and trying to get as many comedians, they didn't see it. It was kind of more of a hustle, honestly.
They were trying to do it here in Chicago?
Nah, they was doing it in another city, but even still, like, because, what I think I love about Knowledge is, and this is why he was such a great manager for me. He never like downplay any of my idea. Whatever idea I would throw at him, he never like, well, we can't do it. We just always had to figure out how to do it, and that's really why I'm at where I'm at right now. So like, man, the reason why I'm so excited. This is not to sound corny, but like, because people talk about giving people opportunities, but that really is my intention. Like when I was praying to God about I want to do movies and have my own TV, and I was praying about that. I always was like, well, God, you give me these opportunities, I promise you I'm gonna look out for a bunch of people on my own terms. Because sometimes when you start doing well, I've had a bunch of cats like, when you come back to the crib and you need to do this and do that, but I'm like, you don't tell me how to do it though. You know what I'm saying? You didn't tell me how I got what I got. So like, why I'm like, listen to you tell me how to give back.
Do you think they just looking like they have an expectation of you to give back?
They should though. You should have the expectation, but you're not gonna tell me how to do it.
I feel that.
You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't rush anything. I try to wait on the right opportunity to do something. And when he came, it was like, man, it's like when you plug something in an outlet, it just fit. It was like, oh, brother, yes, let's. And he probably thought I was crazy because right away I was giving him like a million ideas.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just been sitting on this in my head. And I think that's one of the great things about this partnership. You have somebody who's very creative, who's an artist, with a great businessman. You know what I mean? One thing about Knowledge, like, what made him key to my career, and by the time I got to LA and Hollywood or whatever, I was just doing business different than everybody else because I learned from him. You know what I mean? That literally what separates me from most people. Like, I found success really fast, just even what I was asking for. I wasn't afraid to ask for certain things. It messed my head up when I found out I was making more money than cats that came way before me, just because of what I asked. I never was afraid. If they said no, then you just move on.
So what parts of like the business, 'cause I feel like even with a lot of comics that come out of Chicago today, like they still don't know like the comedy part, the business part of comedy. So what parts do you feel like y'all learned that sets you apart from other comedians?
Well, for me, I grew up in sales, right? Like I just grew up in sales, but even before I got into sales professionally, I don't like to call hustler. I was just like a little short businessman. You know what I'm saying? So from about third grade on, I just always had an inclination. I wanted bread in my pocket, and I was trying to make moves as a young dude. That was just me. But I didn't know what I was doing until I graduated college, got into corporate America, and happened to fall into sales. I'm like, oh, sales is really just doing business. Like every organization, it doesn't matter the organization, for what's the word to go to the next level, somebody's going to need to pitch it well to somebody else. So sales is like instrumental, but there's plenty of talented people that will come out of Chicago. What I always knew about Rel is he do the in front of the camera thing, on stage thing, but he has a huge appetite for the business. He has a huge appetite to learn. Like he don't necessarily want to just be talent. He does not necessarily. He don't want to be talent, just talent. He wants the other part of it as well. And so to your point, I think with anything, you're not going to necessarily be born knowing it, but you have to have an appetite. And so he's always had that appetite to learn the business side. And so I knew we had that period of, let's call it 2013. He goes out to New York, right? Continues to do his career. I'm here in Chicago. But even now, this is the first time we worked together at length, really 10, 11 years. And so it's funny because we can probably see each other's growth. Like this ain't the same guy that left. Like I ain't said nothing to him, but I can just hear the conversations. You like, oh, he done been in some different rooms. He done some different deals. But that's because of that appetite, because some other people have been in some rooms too. But if you don't have that appetite to really want to learn and then come back and actually implement it, he could have kept it. He's bringing that now back to this festival, which is going to help so many more people. So like he said, man, that's why I'm so excited, because it's like in 5 years when we look up, we're going to be like, look who this actually birthed, right? From this festival that came through this pipeline, that if we decided we didn't want to do it, it might be different.
It's two things that I got to take from that. First thing I want to ask you is, are we going? I know we got a lot of comedy shows throughout the week. Are we going to have any like business panels or like workshops or anything like that?
100%. So Wednesday, and this is crazy because it's starting to come together even better than what it was. So Wednesday, we have Dulce Sloan. She's coming. She just won an Emmy last night.
Oh, shout out to her.
She's one of the guest hosts of The Daily Show. You know what I'm saying? And she called me like, Rel, this is one of my friends who just coming just to come. I ain't spending, like they coming, like they spending their own money just because we all been to these festivals, especially as black comics, and they usually kind of put us to the side depending on who you is. This is the first time I believe that a festival is putting us in the forefront. Yeah, we're gonna be diverse and we're gonna have a gang of different people from different cultures, but they usually put us to the side or give us little crumbs. In this situation, we leading the way. You know what I'm saying? And so, like Sherry Shepherd's coming, like these, like they see the vision of it, right? And they like, oh, you really not afraid to do that? I'm like, no, like that's what I'm saying. Like partnering with somebody of knowledge who has the business of it, and then the visionary part. I'm like an insane person when it comes to that. It's just been a beautiful marriage. So we got Dulce, my friend Nefertiti Spencer, who's on the show Reasonable Doubt, was the first black woman head writer of the BET Awards in 2021. She's written on the Emmys, which she did yesterday, the Grammys, the Golden Globes, the Mark Twain Prize. She's also starred on the show Southside. She's hilarious on that show.
I miss
Sherman
Southside.
Showcase.
That
Oh,
was a great show.
such a fun show. But like when I tell you even that show, right? Just a quick story. Like Diallo and Brashear, who created that show, them just the homies. And so I had fire on me at the time. I was up at it. I had my show, my sitcom, and they was like, "Real, we wrote a part for you." I said, "Do it. I'll come do it, because I want your show to get picked up." So whatever I need to do to make this sound more legit, then it's cool. I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's how you gotta move though. Like not name dropping, but like me and David Banner are real good friends now. And I was just texting him today about the festival. And he's just like, man, black man, that's how you do that. That's how we build, that's how we grow. You know what I'm saying? Like some people think giving back ain't business neither. Cause it is. It's all of us collaborating. That's business.
It's a bigger purpose.
But it's business. We should all be able to make money from it too, right?
It's true. For sure.
Like that's why like people don't understand when you do things with good intention. It don't mean you ain't gotta be broke and do good things. Just know your business.
So how do you feel seeing the organic response of everything? Like Sherry Shepherd's coming to Chicago, and like you have all of your friends in the industry that are like, okay, Rel, I'm pulling up, knowledge. We got y'all, whatever y'all need. Like, what is that feeling like?
Man.
So for me, it's crazy, right?
Crazy.
For me, it's super crazy. Because again, I go back to he's a different Rel, right? Not just in who he is as a person, where we were, right? So the kind of toward the last 6 months of our story back then was we had went out to LA for about 30 days. He had just got cast for the In Living Color reboot, right? So we staying at the W for 30 days, right? Now this is 12 years ago, right? So I'm younger then, so I'm like, we about to pop. You know what I'm saying? And so they shoot the joint. I'm there every day, and so In Living Color's In Living Color, right? Like that's a game changer. So we're thinking this is getting ready to come back, and he's going to the moon. They decide to shelf it, right? So Fox never puts it out. So now we back in Chicago, like, man, we don't really want to run them plays again. We've run them plays for the last 7, 8 years. And so at that point, it becomes like, man, you know what I'm saying? What's the next move? And, there was a situation, opportunity for him to kind of move his career along. I thought it was a good move for him to take that next step. And then it's been pretty much, I've been out of the comedy game pretty much since then.
And he sound humble about it. What he did was, my manager now, shout out to Avi Gilbert, contacted Knowledge kind of like, I don't know what that conversation was, to be quite honest with you.
This was while he was still your manager?
He was still my manager. And
so he was trying to take your job.
2012, 13.
I don't think it was that. It's that, I think y'all probably vibed when we was doing Living Cut. Like, they got a chance to talk. What Knowledge pulled me to the side was like, look, Rel, like just real talk side, he can take you to
Places
because he was still at 3 Arts at the time. Which was 3 Arts was the powerhouse.
Right.
Like to be like if you signed to 3 Arts at that time was like a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
they had all Kevin, Lou, like they had everybody. And so when he made that decision because I couldn't make it, I wouldn't have left Knowledge. I'm loyal like that. You know what I'm saying? This became really my big brother. Like we was doing an interview the other day. He was like, "Man, we used to talk 10 times a day." I'm like, "Yeah, I used to call you all
the time,
day long,
all the time.
If it was ideal,
Yep.
if it was personal, those cats I wanted to fight. He talked me off that left out for real. Like,
You need people like that.
but because he was a big bro, so when he told me, that's honestly, that's when I knew his intentions was always good. I'm like, dude, I know I'm about to pop. Like, I knew in my head, like, I know I'm close. So you gonna just like, you sure? And I think that's what make his success story even better because, you know, a lot of cats fall off after doing something like that or they get fired.
And they don't work in the industry again.
He literally handed me off to somebody else, right? And still been extremely successful. You know, so I've been for years was like, I don't know what the thing for me in knowledge to do again. I was always trying to figure it out. And this festival was really what we was doing anyway. It's kind of crazy. That's why, like, because even when you said it last night, like, we used to talk tit-tat. I'm thinking about now how much we talk now.
Yeah.
It's literally back.
The same.
Back to that.
It's
yeah.
back to that. Like,
Yeah.
it never stopped.
Right.
It's kind of crazy, to be quite honest with you. Just random conversations.
And going back to your joint, so I want to answer your question because we do this, right? 'Cause it's a whole thing. Like, I think that's cool too, right? He from the west side, from the south side. You know, about a 4 or 5 year age difference. But a lot of people back then, because they like, okay, that's knowledge and real, but you didn't know where he was going, and you getting to know me or whatever, but you didn't know where it was going. Now that you see where he's went, it's almost like now we letting you behind the curtain to kind of see how we move, like the genuine love, the authenticity we have for each other, et cetera. So I think that's dope for people to see as well. Like we were teammates, right, partners at the end of the day. But exciting for me, right, because of all of that. And so as I come back and saying, well, I'm gonna come back into comedy, I had no idea he was gonna jump on. I knew he had a strong love for comedy, and I said, this is probably of interest, which is why I mentioned it to him. But the man shoot 10 movies a week. So I'm like, I don't know if he has time to really dive into this, but this is what I'm doing. And so hearing him say he's going to come aboard, and then as he came aboard, again, it's different than the real TV networks. Hey, WG and NBC, everybody's like, come on board, talk your talk. Press releases are going on like it's a big deal. And mine was going to probably be great for the community, but it would have been on the humble and it had to grow. So I always told Rel, like, you coming aboard took us where we were going to be in year 1. We probably in year 4 right now.
That's
right. So he's just accelerating that growth. And so for me, it's more than what I anticipated we would be at this particular point. So it's dope.
I do want to ask this, right? So you say it's more than what you anticipated to be at this point.
Yeah.
What are if you could say, some of the biggest hurdles and obstacles that you have came across trying to put this together?
Time, really.
That's it. That's it.
How long did it take?
I told him we had this conversation probably in May, but I hadn't started putting it together. We were planning, me and the team, we were planning to go back to, I used to do classic hip hop concerts, right? Old school concerts with the live band. We were working on that. And so I can't remember the exact way that I kind of turned into comedy, but I decided that I wanted to go that route. But this is probably May when I tell him we probably don't really start to put it together to early June. And I think a press release went out. We was like, man, we got to get the press release out. Press release went out June 20th. So that's when we let the world know about it. And what is that, July, August? That's 90 days, right? Pretty much that we've put all of this together with an amazing team, but none of us do this full time. So this is in that after work time. So the energy, the commitment that the team has made has been amazing. And probably if he told you what he's done in the last 90 days, he's probably done 12 clubs, 4 movies. And so for us to be able to do this, not being able to give 100% of our time to it, we're super excited about this year, but you can only imagine when we start working on this on September 23rd. But next year, we got a full year. Sponsors, just ideas, so many things that we knew we had to, we got to punt, bro. Like, that's dope, but we got to do that next year because we don't have the time. And so that's even more exciting, really. We're going to get to this one and knock this out and have a great time this week. But, man, the future of this thing is super bright, super bright.
It's yeah, I mean, you don't even, I was literally in the shower today thinking about some newer, well, I'm going to talk to him about later, but when you can see, it's crazy. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, so Rel, how did you see it when he said it to you, right? And then what I believe was happening now is what I saw when all he did was tell me about it. So from that point, now I'm thinking on some whole other, beyond the festival brain is going right now. It's like, all right, let's go hard now. Let's really get some capital in this.
So you mentioned David Banner earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I remember a situation I saw having a conversation, being in the room with David Banner, and he was speaking with DJ Ferris about a vision. and like how when you have your vision, it can be lonely sometimes. You could be the only person that see it, and people don't understand what you see and how you feel. So doing this process of putting this vision, having this vision, and putting this together, did you guys ever feel like, yo, people are just not getting it, they not understanding and what?
I don't honestly, nah, because you gotta realize, like, when we say we did this before,
Right.
The dynamic just worked.
he put an interview up. That's an old interview I did,
Yeah.
and when I watch these old interviews, I'm like, how was I so confident that all this stuff was gonna happen?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I was like, damn, I was living in my parents' crib. I just moved back home. I'm crashing on his couch having that.
Right.
How was I talking like that? Like, I was just like very confident that everything I ended up doing, without knowing how it was gonna happen. I didn't know a Get Out would exist. I didn't know me talking to Jordan at a random party at a festival would turn into me being in one of the
That's how that
highest girls.
happened?
That's how we became cool.
Oh, that's
and then
what's
he
up.
never forgot about me. So when he was writing the movie, he thought about me. Well, that's why when I read the script, I was like, why does it sound like me? And it wasn't until I think he talked to Oprah or somebody. He was like, you know, when I was writing this movie, I thought of Rel while I was writing it. I literally was like, if I don't book this, I'm a terrible actor because this guy sounds like me.
It was literally like the friend, the Chicago friend, for sure.
Yeah.
It was, but that's what I'm saying. Like those little things, and Knowledge said something that's very important. Like, you know, and I can't wait to talk about that this week at the panels, and even just interacting with comics, even the ones who come today. You know, because I'm making myself very accessible this week. Like for real, for real. If you come to the festival, it's probably, and I'm usually kind of like, I'm an empath in a way. Like it's when it's time for me to do this, I do it. But most of the time, I'm tucked away.
Valid.
But I'm being very, because I want to like make sure I can give really great advice, man. Like because, you know, I look at like my relations with like Said the Entertainer. Man, I was taking notes down sometimes when Cass was telling me stuff. You know, Said when he got his star on the Walk of Fame, man, he gave me a shout out. I didn't expect that. I was just showing up because he invited me. I'm like, in your Walk of Fame speech, you gonna give me you gonna show me some love. But he always, he kicked me off his tour. He would be like, I was touring with Said.
Yeah.
He kicked you out.
Man, because he was like, man, you ain't no opener, man.
Oh,
You
he saw
big- you-
he saw
he
better.
saw-
Yeah, he saw
okay.
bigger.
But I was
things
like,
for you.
brother, I need the money. But I understood that, and I never forgot that. You know what I'm saying? And from that point on, like that's how, like, you know, when I went to do Carmichael's show, and I never did a sitcom before, he had me come to the Soul Man set to just watch how the rehearsals and stuff go. He didn't have to do that. And cats just don't forget that. He like, man, he said to me all the time, he like, man, you one of the ones that actually really listen. Like, you didn't want anything. I'd never call for a hookup or just give me advice. That's all I've ever wanted. You tell me something, I'm going to remember it and I'm going to jot that down. Because I think even with my journey to this, it was cats that was way funnier than me, stronger comics. But I took my time perfecting everything from my stage stuff to even just the business part of it.
Yeah.
Knowledge, know when I had What That Do Wednesday at Jokes and Notes, how like when MySpace existed, if it was his computer, whatever computer I can find, I would be on there for almost the whole week until next week, sending messages to people every week to get them to come out. Mostly women. Because it was like, if you get girls there, you know,
They
cats
gonna bring
ain't
a
come.
date, yeah.
And then, I literally molded street dudes that became really good comedy connoisseurs. Which is crazy. Like they first would come by to roast them and break them. And then I saw them kicking girls out the booth. Get out the booth, you talking too much. You gotta respect the comics. It was crazy watching that transit. But that's how like committed I was to this. And I mean, us honoring Mary Lindsay this year is so important because of that, right? Because Knowledge, you know, he talks about it all the time. That's how he learned a lot of the business of comedies through Mary and watching her. And same with me. Like, she gave me a stage that I had every week to do what I want to get better and better. It was my United Center. It was like I can leave and come back and that place was there. I could call Mary and be like, look, I need a night. Because I got to work on something. And she'd be like, all right, cool, you can have Tuesday. Like, with no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm glad we're honoring her because, you know, she outside of him showing me the business, she showed me the discipline, the professionalism.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from Jokes Notes and Mary Lindsay. All right, that went to a whole nother rant.
Nah, you going crazy with it. I was just gonna ask you, like, that grind that you just outlined and that you just displayed for us, like, do you feel like the younger comics in this generation, do they still got that same grind and work ethic? Just keep it a buck.
I say you never know. You never know, right? Because you never know what somebody's doing. But like, just looking from the outside in, one, I was up close and personal. Like, and I used to see the man on MySpace all day long, right? I saw him. I go up to his crib. I had a building out south. He lived on one floor. I lived on the other. So all day long, he watching TV, but he not watching TV to watch TV. He watching I Love Lucy. But he's watching it, like looking at the comedy beats, like a straight up student. And so, do comedians put that sort of work? Do they have? I always knew, like he said, other people. It's a lot of funny people. You know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot because how many times are you next to somebody who goes from here to the moon, right? And so while other people can think it's a lot of other things, I actually saw it. Like, nah, bro. Like you try to be more well-rounded. You got a plan B. He had no plan B. He wasn't trying to be well-rounded. He wasn't trying to be balanced. It was like comedy. And so when somebody do something, it may look better, it may look cooler, but like you ain't locked in, right? You're not locked in. And so there's so many, even as a business person, there's so much I learned because when you watch somebody take that and you know it's not just like, oh man, that was luck. That just, like the hours that he's put in to get to where he is real. And so can I really see it from the outside looking at other cats? I don't see it, right? Like this is a big reason that we're doing this. When I look at comedy rooms or whatever, like I should be getting, there's so many people like now I can name comics that you all should know because they've been around forever and they're funny as hell and you don't know them. The only reason you don't know them is they're not working like that in terms of the other part. The on stage part is one thing. Like what that do Wednesday is like he was a promoter too. There was no promoter. It isn't like he brought in a promoter to promote the spot. I'm gonna do the spot. I'm gonna host it. I'm gonna keep it fresh every week. You're not gonna hear the same jokes, but then I'm also going to pack it out. Right, today, a lot of times there's somebody who's had a comedy club. When I talk to comedians, it's like it's your job to book, or it's your job to get people in. It's my job to perform. My bro, it's a lot of people perform. Like I can always find more comics to go on the stage, but you'll stay on my stage more if you actually help me to make my job easier. You always gonna have a home, right? And he got that, and that's why I think Mary also appreciated. Yeah, he had funny, but when you do that with any business person, they're going to look like that. They're going to look at it like a partnership. And so that's why even Mary being older and kind of a mom figure, Rel is still my partner because he's helping my club to be successful. And for business people, that's what you want is somebody to help your bottom line. And so beyond being funny, he does that too. And that's you're always going to be appreciated.
What's another component in this? Because we understand the club. That's a good space. You got to practice your stand-up. That's like your arena. Like you got to be able to practice. You know, you as a manager, you need somebody to help you with the business. Understand. What's another component that people don't know about the comedy game that they need to kind of get down pat?
You know, intention. Like, I don't know. I guess it's me being way too honest, but like, I didn't go into this thinking I'd be a millionaire. You know, I mean, for real, I really didn't. I didn't know what the money was. And so, like, when that happens, it's weird, too, because I mean, Knowledge just sit here. Once again, like, he saw me at the brokest of being broke. I remember the first time I ever saw that in my account, and just staring at it and not wanting to touch it. Well, let me open another account so I won't touch it. And it wasn't because of the money thing. It was like, wow, I didn't come in with that intention. I just did this because I loved it, and this is what it did. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like, doing something because you actually love it is so important. I've been saying that way more lately than I ever have, like how much I truly love what I do. And not even just stand-up. I love doing movies. I love going on set. I love writing. I love all the creative processes of all this. And so, like, you really got to love this. And sometimes I think you can get jaded, too, once you start getting, doing well or whatever. You can, you can get jaded. I like that the strike happened because I know for me, it just made me I had to put things back into the old perspective. And I had to start looking at things again from that grind perspective. Because I got the agents and I got the man, I got everything, I got all the good stuff, I got the team. But I'm like, no, that don't do nothing, bro. Because everybody started chilling. You was proactive. That's how you got here. You didn't get here because of this team. And that's cool, and I love my team. But I had to get back into being more more intentional about everything and more like proactive.
Okay.
So did you switch some things up during the strike? Just to kind
I
of.
switched the mindset up first of all. Like, one of the things I didn't want to look at it from the perspective of my handout no more. I wanted to think like the CEOs. Like, why are they irritated by us? I mean, for real. Like from a business perspective, like what annoys them about the actors or what we're asking for? I wanted to see all the perspectives of it. Because sometimes we're just like, they're evil, they're this, because well, no, that's really like, but does everybody deserve this number? What did you negotiate? You know what I'm saying? Then you start looking at it deeper, like, dang, some of them executives in the studio place made a mistake. Yeah, they shouldn't have tried to compete with Netflix. That was dumb. You don't know their system. Y'all wasted millions of dollars changing a system that was already well oiled to compete with somebody who ain't gonna ever tell you what their secret sauce is.
Okay. Especially Netflix, child.
I mean, for real. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, even that, like, and for me now in my life, I just changed my mindset about just thinking like an executive. That's why, like, I had to apologize to, like, Tyler Perry. Like, it was a time I was talking hella crazy about Tyler. Like, all his stuff needs to be better and, blah, blah, blah. And, like, but who am I to tell that man who raised all that capital on his own what to do with his money? Who has an audience that love what he does? Who are we to tell him what his art is?
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? We should
The
be
stories
inspired.
be wild though.
So what though?
In the hairstyle.
And guess what? Your auntie
Don't
and them,
talk about
your
they
auntie and them be
wigs.
watching it
My
like
mama love
crazy.
it, okay?
Yeah.
So so even when we say that, because we don't do that to the white creatives.
I do.
Go ahead. Well, I mean, no. When I say we, I mean I know we love to individualize, but like for real, like as an audience, they people don't do that. We pick on each other,
Yeah.
like for no reason.
But what's wrong with being a critic of the culture? Like, why we can't have an opinion on it? Can we celebrate it and say, yo, no, I watched it, I love it, but yo, I didn't like this? Is it?
Man, I'm gonna say this. I had to learn something. This is some real talking. Please, nobody get offended by this, and I should be offended by a second. I'm talking about me too. Like, how can I talk shit about somebody that's doing way better than me? I ain't got nothing. I didn't do what he has. He can do whatever he wants with his money. Why? How am I trying to tell this? Why? Like even when you hear people talk about what Oprah should be like, what are you doing with your 20, fam? Your $20.
Right.
Would you give half that up to? Like, think about that. Like, we always asking for people who we think have the most to do even more of what they already doing. And we so much more, like, when it comes to creativity, I just think it's no, you imagine George Lucas if he really listened to like somebody tell him that, writing about Ewoks and lightsabers and how, because it sounds crazy, Jabba the Hutt. Like if you watch the Steven Spielberg documentary, when he first showed Star Wars, so it's a bunch of them. It was like George Lucas showed to Spielberg. It was a gang of these like well-known directors now, but at that time they were all like in their 20s and young. And they was like, dude, what are we watching? So the reason why we had the words in front of the movie that tell us a story or the backstory is because everybody's like,
Nobody
dude,
understood
what
it
are we
was.
looking at? You gotta explain what happened before all this happened.
And that's the only reason. Iconic.
But that goes with collabing, though.
But that actually add a little taste of each Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I like that.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And so when I saw that, I remember laughing like, yo, but that's collabing. That's somebody being honest with you.
Yeah.
That's you not being like hurt because, and I think even with Tyler, I'll say this, it would be nice though to see more communication with everybody and like we being able to, I don't think we should publicly criticize anybody. Like get to know that brother, sit down with him, say, hey man, this is what I was thinking. Like, can we collab and do something? You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing and I did that before. I really did. And I was wrong for that. Yeah. And I can admit that because I'm like, well, I get it now because at the end of the day, I want to raise capital to do all the creative things I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
And somebody might look at your story and be like, that's crazy.
Oh, people always like that's so crazy. Like even now, like it's so interesting. Like, the interview that kicked the year off was Cat Williams' interview. And, one thing about Cat is funny. We just gotta stop looking at somebody's personal truth don't always mean it's the truth. You know what I mean? He just got good delivery, so it's funny because everybody like, right. Man, Cat, everything he said is the truth.
Yeah.
No, it ain't. Like, come on, y'all gonna let this man tell y'all that he put in his contract to tell her to put a dress on Ricky Smiley when he was like 10th on the call sheet. That is unrealistic.
Real.
You cannot negotiate that. You weren't even a star of the movie. You're not on the poster.
Okay.
You can't do that. And that's why, like, sometimes it's tough for me to hear stuff, and I'm like, guys, can y'all just enjoy it? Don't take it so serious. Don't take it so serious. Because, you know, and that's what's so important about this festival, too, just FYI. What happened earlier this year, it started so many beefs among black comics.
Yeah, y'all was going crazy.
But I also think it was good, though.
It's not good.
Not necessarily the beef, but just everybody willing to speak up and say stuff and be
because
out.
y'all be leaving the lies. No, it's not. It wasn't good because it didn't make anybody more money. It didn't make anybody more
Shannon
money.
Sharp got rich.
Yeah, Shannon, I'm talking about stand-up comics. I don't care about Shannon's my man, but he doing what he doing.
Yeah.
He's not a comic.
Yeah.
Nobody wasn't selling more tickets because of those. Like I
It seemed
did
like
Club Shay Shay, so it's like, but I try to do it from an honest perspective, and that still kicked off beefs.
Yeah.
You should have known that.
It seemed like it was a rollout. It's like everybody that went on there, they had something they was.
Something else
I was
was
coming
about to
right
come out.
afterwards.
No. When I went on there to talk about like other stuff I had going on. Like I just thought it was weird that cats did it and they ain't had nothing to promote.
This is true.
A lot of
I had
people
like
got,
2
have that
movies coming
team.
out like
You
when
gotta
I
have
did
that
it. I was
team.
like, oh, I'm talking about my
Which
next
makes
project.
sense. That's why you do press.
But everybody else was just there. It was the crazy, and it's honestly too, you know, it's just like I always been an in between class between the older generation and the younger generation. I always been like in this weird middle of it, and so it's hard watching your big brothers that you respect and love bicker like that.
facts.
I mean, you know how crazy we were. This is a true story. At the Netflix and Joke Festival, they had a brunch, and none of the black comics was talking to each other because of Cat's there with he had the silver outfit on. He looked
Really?
crazy as hell. But none of us was talking to each other, and all the white comics was just laughing at us, kind of,
Damn.
cause we look crazy as hell.
I hate that.
But you love it, like you said, hey, it's good for the
It
game.
made great content.
It didn't, but that's what I'm telling you, it made it divisive.
I didn't think it was that deep.
It is that deep.
Some of that shit. Some of the.
That's
shit
why
he
it's none of
was
y'all
supposed to say.
business.
Y'all
Y'all not
need
even
to sit
supposed to
down
know
and
about these
kumbaya.
beefs. It's none of y'all business. It's like it should have been just these comedy beefs have always existed, but it never should have been publicized, in my opinion. Now, if y'all have a roasting contest, cool, roast each other. But like, all these cats been always like overly competitive. You know, I hate that
Right.
Kevin and Kat can't just be really rich comics and figure out how to work with each other.
Because that would be.
You know, instead of you saying, oh, this person is doing well because they did this and that. And that's another thing. We got to stop that in the black community. Like, you know, we love to throw somebody's in Illuminati, somebody didn't sold they soul, somebody. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, some shit.
Like, man, I went to Crane, but I don't know who to call. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for real, like, who are y'all talking about? It don't work. Because think about that. If it was that easy just to do some of the stuff people say people
Everybody
doing,
would be calling it
everybody
Illuminati.
be doing it.
Yeah.
Point blank to make. It's a lot of people that do anything to make it.
Nah, that's valid.
I mean, Dr. King, Malcolm X, like you go back.
Yeah.
You go back, bro, and sometimes that's our downfalls. We just can't get on the same page.
Yeah.
Like even as me and Rel rolled out this, and I just look at it like there's doers, right? There's people who do, right? Like I just always do. And so it's always wild to me that those who don't, they always critique. So you might say, well, shouldn't everybody have an opportunity, what have you? Not if you don't do shit. If you don't really do anything and that's what you sit back and do, like sometimes, even as I watch like grown men, and they just, you know, I know it's a job to commentate on sports, whatever. I just couldn't. After about 3 days, I'd be like, all right, that's cool. I got everything out. Like, I can't every day talk about another man who's doing something that more than likely I can't. Right? And some people get really comfortable in that space. Like, as me and Rel put this together, like, you know, say no names or whatever, but, you know, I got moles everywhere. But you just hear people chattering about what we doing and maybe saying negative things about it. And it's like, yo, I'm sure homie can go back to where he can go back to his good, rich life. I can go back to my all right, dope life.
And we gonna speak
And-
the richness, your rich life.
I'm rich, but I'm chilling.
Dollars do I.
But at the end of the day, we can just go back to that.
Yeah.
And then there's no comedy festival again that ever comes through. Like the comedy festival come through, yeah, we got some people that we rocked with, but this is gonna be a lane for people we ain't never met before. That's gonna come through this channel And so you might have a way that you do it different, but why would you get to a point of critique? Maybe you reach out to Rel, maybe you reach out to me, but at the end of the day, that's the energy I think we got to change to. Kind of like he was saying with Tyler Perry. Like, if it's something you don't agree with, this shit is lying. You got an idea.
Yep.
I get it from my team all the time, right? Because I can be like, all right, cool, we doing this. And they might say something, and I'm like, nah. And then a day later, I'm like, nah, that makes sense. Rel give it to me all the time. I have something, he'd be like, well, yeah, maybe we should. And that idea we able to run with. So, but it didn't have to be Rel going to the internet like, man, I wish knowledge to listen sometime.
Yeah.
It don't have to be that way. And I think that's how we get down.
But that's what we talking about earlier too. Like, I love this. Like, it ain't like, it's not this thing, oh, we don't have to do this. I mean, and that's real, but like, I do though too, right? And we were talking about this earlier. Like, I was looking out for people before I was able to really look out for people.
Yeah.
Because I love this. I love anybody else that say, hey, I'm going to invest into my dream. Like, how do you not support other dreamers if you're a dreamer? You know what I'm saying?
Valid.
That don't make sense to me. And so, like, it wouldn't even make sense. Like, even when I had my show, my sitcom, and I believe me, it was tough because that's a big network, Fox. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of fights I had with them that I never talked about publicly. I know, like, people love to brag about, like, yeah, I did this and did that. But I'm like, no, like, I remember Jess wanted to change her hair in the episode, and I had to, like, have a discussion with the head of Fox that, like, you know, black women change their hair all the time. They thought because she didn't wear the hair on the poster that people was going to not recognize her.
That's insane.
That's crazy to me. Her face ain't changed, it's her hair.
That's insane.
All our mamas had several wigs. You know what I mean? Like,
You had a church wig, a work
bam,
wig,
like,
a Saturday wig.
But to have a real discussion about that those are like those fights I had to have, man. Like, I had like some crazy, it's a crazy discussion that shocked me. Like, yo, I really got to sit down and say this to you? Okay. I mean, even before the show got picked up, I remember them telling me they love the pilot and everything. It was like, well, could you add a white guy as one of your main cast members?
What was the
I was
reason?
like, wait, what? You mean my West Side of Chicago story, you know, Crucial Conflict is a theme song. You want me to just make up some white guy in this situation to make a main character? I said this, I'll never forget. I bet Gerard called me first. He's like, look, they about to call you. I told him to talk to you. Don't talk to me about it. I was like, all right. And I was honest with the president. Was like, if y'all do that, I'm telling everybody what y'all did.
Not you snitching. But what?
That's what I said.
What was the
I'm literally telling
reasoning?
everybody like that you didn't pick my show up because I didn't add a white guy as a main cast member.
Do you think it was like a business marketing move for them to just?
I don't know
Did they
what
just
that
try
was.
to? Yeah.
We don't know why white people do white people stuff.
This is true.
I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it was muscling me. I don't know what it. I don't know if it was a test. Cause they picked the show up after I
Yeah.
said no.
So they probably was trying to see
How much?
if you would've
How
went
much?
through
Man.
it.
Move? How much
But that's
of a
why,
push?
like, when you once again, and it's not to bring up that particular interview, but like, man, a lot of us do a lot of fighting. We just ain't loud about it because, like, we black. We always got to fight for stuff. Like, well, I got to tell you everything that I had to do to make you feel good about yourself.
This be them dopamine hits, man. People just want to feel something, get them.
But that's what I'm
likes and
saying.
shit,
That's why,
man.
like, we can't, you know, and even that, right? Like, think about somebody else that may have that opportunity, right? And it's people that came before me that went through that and had to, like, say no, you know what I'm saying? Or say yes to that. I don't look at them as a sellout, you know? And I know most of the time, oh, that brother sold out because he said yes. I'm like, man, this man want to feed his family. Like, what you want him to do? Like, our whole lives as black people, we've had to, like, honestly, like, do something, especially when it comes to white people, like, they'll be like, yep, I got to take them talking crazy to me today. I got, like, for real. We just not
That's
being
about
honest
any
about
job.
it. We just don't talk, when we were around each other, like, see, you ain't say nothing. You ain't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, fam. Did you really curse out your boss?
Did you ever have a moment where you felt like you was like between the rock and the hard place, like you wanted to do something for yourself, but
Unfortunately, I've leaned into I'm such a Chicago person, man. So, and it's so funny because I'm a little nerdy looking dude, but like our energy is so aggressive.
it's aggressive.
Definitely.
It scares people. So when you call somebody fam or goofy on a Fox lot, you know,
They
they be
get
like, why
scared.
am I goofy? He called me goofy. What you Get your goofy ass. Like, because you know I went too far when you say that, right? It's like, nah, I'm breaking out of professionalism. Get the goofy ass shit out of here.
I started to tell the time.
But that happened a lot of the time.
Don't say
But sometimes it's happened where like it's been at my detriment sometimes. It's relationships that, because a lot of these cats talk about their blackness and being black and doing stuff for us, and they really don't be on that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love people like Issa Rae. Issa a real one. Like
shout out
for
to
real,
Issa
for
Rae.
real. Like straight up, like she really stand on her. She's a real one. Ava DuVernay, those are real ones. Those are people who really stand up for our people and our culture. A lot of these cats just talk that stuff, and then you see it for real. You be like, ooh, that's how you move.
So it's one of the things that all skinfolk and kinfolk.
Man, because I mean, but then I wouldn't, like for instance, I'm not name dropping on that, right? Because I'm like, I don't know what his capacity or her capacity on what they need to do to eat.
or their perspective on why they did it.
It's because it's not all the way sellout, man. We just look, man. We look at the civil rights movement and go, like, it's just a lot, man.
Yeah.
Everybody was gonna be Malcolm X and Martin.
It's
All
probably
the rest of the
what
cats
God-
were still alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They died broke.
Child, we don't want that.
One thing I did want to ask, right, on a knowledge, right? So, as a manager, oftentimes in this space, the talent or the artist or the comedian, they have egos. Like, ego is really a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how do you kind of like or in y'all situation, use for y'all example, on your like when you first probably got your big thing, like was it a time when you just had to be a big brother to Rel and reel him back in? Like, nah, don't let that ego mess up what we got going on.
Not as far as performance, not like career wise. More than anything, it was trying to make sure he kept the big picture in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like we in Chicago. Rel is West Side Chicago.
Okay.
Rel was in the streets before they said in the streets, and so he out and about all the time. He's working, promoting his Wednesday or whatever the case may be, but he also out, right? And so more for him is like, bro, I get out, but I wasn't getting out like he was, and so it was like at the end of the day, bro, just it's bigger than this. So to make sure you don't necessarily, and he did, right? Got into situations here in Chicago, et cetera, that you don't really want to be in, right? And, we don't have to go into it, but he had a situation with Bill Bellamy getting ready to go on tour, and he getting a fight at a club, and somebody hit him with a car. Like, Rel was,
Hit with a car?
he was, yeah, man.
He got hit with a
He's a whole
car?
different situation.
Yeah.
Rel was in the mix out here. And it's like, so it was never like ego. Rel would do a set and come back, what you think? So he was that guy, even though funny as hell, getting standing O's, like, what you think? What you think about that joke? So that wasn't, it was more like to make sure he got here.
It was life stuff.
It was life stuff.
We see you out here getting hit by cars.
Well, I mean, and that situation, it all stems from like, and this is now because I'm big on talking about mental health, but like going to therapy, I lost my mom and I was just in so much pain. And I didn't know what to do with that pain. Like I wanted to feel it more than anything. So it was cats that was showing me, look, I would start fights with them. Cause I just wanted to get hit. Cause I didn't know, I was in so much pain. I didn't know if it was physically I needed something to make that pain go. I didn't know what it was. And so like, and I say this to all black men, please go to therapy, man. Especially we being from here, we've lived some traumatic lives that we think is normal. And it's not. It's not normal to lose a classmate almost every year you've been in school. That's crazy. Because these are kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I normalized all that stuff. And it wasn't until I got a chance to see the world and meet different people. Just even being from Chicago. Like, when I moved to New York, I didn't realize how segregated Chicago was until I lived somewhere else. Yeah. I saw a black guy, a gay white man, a Chinese dude, and a Puerto Rican dude all eating pizza together. And I was sitting there like, how did y'all meet? You know what I mean? I was sitting there watching them hang out like, because I would never thought I could be friends with all these different people. Being from here, I'm being honest, And it was like when I lived in New York, that changed everything. I was friends with this dude who owned half the block. And I didn't know, we just watched the Bulls game on Tuesdays. And one day we decided to talk about what our jobs was after like a year. We just watched basketball. And I was like, damn, I don't think I would ever talk to you if I was in Chicago. I wouldn't have trusted you, whatever the case. I might not even sit next to you. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. I was a full-blown adult living in New York, almost afraid to talk to other people because of growing up here. You know what I mean? Like, it was situations where, like, it was detriment if you spoke to certain people. You know what I'm saying? And so, look, at the end of the day, like, and that's one thing I love about Chicago is even though like we have negative stuff, it's stuff that made me strong though, because like by the time I got to LA, the career made me feel like a star.
Right.
I was so confident hitting them LA stages. Like you saw that documentary, I showed. I remember I was doing like the opener part of that show, and I destroyed it. And I remember them being like, "Why you so? Who are you? You so confident?" Hey man, I'm from
Chicago, okay.
People got tired of me saying that. Chicago. Yeah, it's about Chicago. Chicago. Yeah.
So that's always been a thing, huh?
I mean, because I love where we from, man. That's why I never changed my material. I never adjusted it. I just made everybody get it. It was a time where some of the stuff I was doing it all day, what that do, and all that stuff, right, girls? And they be like, they only gonna get it in Chicago. And then I go somewhere in New Jersey. Everybody got ghettos.
Everybody.
Hood rats everywhere. It's just different lingo. This is everywhere. Just different versions of it. Some people say what that do, they say what. You know, whatever. It's just all different. But I'm saying, like, me owning who I am from the crib, being from the West Side, is what made me stand out around the world. Is by keeping those grassroots of, I'm from the West Side of Chicago. That's
The
been my
West
story the whole
Siders,
time.
we some
not the-
gems.
People sleep on us.
Okay, all
Yeah.
the time.
Y'all just stay over there.
Time to wake up. Period.
But nobody care about that but us here. You know that, right? So when you move to LA and you meet all the other Chicago people from different places, we
They
all
don't
like,
care, yeah.
ain't nobody care. We be getting full-blown arguments. We're like, why are they arguing
We argue about the West
about
Side all the
Morgan
time.
Park? And why is this Derrick Rose, Will Bynum argument
Because we was
so
arguing
aggressive?
over class alumni picnics. Who had the best alumni
that's the
picnic this
thing.
summer? It
That's
was
the
like a
thing.
big argument
That's
on
what I'm
Facebook.
saying.
Like,
Nobody cares but us here.
No, dude, that's put that Whitney Young thing out. He was wild for that.
y'all just hate
He was
Whitney
wild
Young
for
so
that. He was wild
bad.
for that.
So check it. I know we getting ready to move into the next phase, but can we talk about like the week while we here? Can we run through the week?
Yeah,
the
so
whole
I did
nine?
want to ask y'all.
My bad.
I
Y'all was
wanted
giving
to-
good gems. My
That
bad.
was
Yeah,
bad.
I wanted to ask y'all, going back to when we were saying like up and coming talent and, you know, do they work as hard as, you know, you seen real work. So who are some of the talents that's on the bill that y'all like really excited to see? I know I like Just Niche. That's my girl.
Just
no
Niche
doubt.
is
Shout out
she.
to Niche.
I
Everybody
love
love
her.
Niche.
Crazy.
Yeah, Niche is funny.
Love her, love her. So who are
Niche.
some other talents?
Marilee Monroe. You know Marilee?
Yes, I do know Marilee. I know
Marilee's
Marilee.
so funny. She's actually open for me on the road too. Man, we got Hot Sauce. We got Sean Morgan. My boy LeVar Walker, who's from Chicago, but he actually came up in the game in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like LeVar, like it's funny. Before T.I. started doing comedy, he almost used to make LeVar do him because he used to do a crazy T.I. impersonation. He would just destroy Atlanta. But LeVar's one of my favorite comedians. Okay, we got LeVar Walker. We got Sean Morgan, who honestly, he's a Chicago legend, really. You know, one of the most consistently funny people.
Yeah.
Brian the Wildcat Smith, which was one of my roommates. Shout out to the Last Laugh Troupe. Michi Hall, which was one of my roommates. I lived with those two for the first almost 10 years of me doing comedy. And we were roommates, man, which is honestly, someday I got to do a documentary
I
about
was gonna
that
say that's a
old movie.
sitcom.
Yo, it was crazy. We literally stayed in this apartment in Harvey. This 3-bedroom.
Harvey?
Even if we had,
Harvey is insane.
straight up Harvey. Yes, yeah. It was one time, dude, like go upstairs. He had a machine gun in his hand. Y'all got to show tomorrow. I was like, all right, brother. That's a true story. Actually. But like, no, it was that though. We had like cats from all over the country. They used to crash on our couch. You know what I'm saying? It's stories we had of just the most. Somebody, like a drug dealer I knew, like put up $200 we had a roasting contest. Like 12 hours for $200.
$200.
12 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like a tournament. It was crazy.
Y'all should do that this weekend. I love to just see all y'all
roast-
coming. Like
yeah.
a roast time.
Yo, back in the day, not to sound like an old man, but it was Damon Williams used to have a spot, and I'll never forget this one classic night. The show's over with. We're all literally in a circle. We talking about this when Corey Holcomb was still here, Jeff B, Beak, everybody, Leon, hitting each other. It was cool. I just missed those times, man. Like it wasn't no big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Just roasting in the lobby. Or you somebody on stage, we in the lobby roasting each other. Like meanly roast, like mean roast. Not like below the belt, you should probably steal on this dude type of
I've gotten that from D-Ray in L.A. coming in the comedy club, sat front row. D-Ray heated me the whole night.
So imagine when the comics are going at each other
Right.
in a lobby.
Yeah, No,
Man,
no.
that's crazy. Yeah, that's something. Maybe that's something. That might be something fun one
Y'all
of these
should bring
years
that back.
Yeah, y'all should
to
bring
do
that.
a true, like not even like the roast they do, like where everybody get on the, like literally create a circle and just record it.
Like a cipher.
Y'all
Like a
got
cipher.
62
Like a
people
cipher.
here.
Yeah.
Y'all got enough.
62.
Y'all got enough people to make
Definitely
it
got
happen.
enough.
So we talk about these venues. Like, how important was the? How significant are the venues y'all chose for this week?
Yeah, so given that the festival spotlights black, brown, yellow folks, we wanted to get as many of those venues included as possible. Some not even comedy venues per se, right? Like we kick off tomorrow at Truth Restaurant that's hosted by Sherelle Pierce. That's Peyton Wilburn's restaurant, but that's not a comedy show. That's not a comedy club. But nevertheless, you can do comedy in that space. If we can pump money into black and brown businesses, that makes sense. You know, our big weekend, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday at DuSable. DuSable, enough said, right? The fact that Rel is actually, I was talking to the young lady that does the booking over there today, and I was just talking about maybe having like a police presence out there over the course of the weekend. You know, we don't expect anything to happen, but just having that. But I was like, specifically Sunday, because Rel is shooting his special. Like now kind of specials, he was going to do something on one of the panels talking about our specials really special, because everybody's shooting a special now, right? It'd be a Chicken Shack, you'd be like, I'm shooting my 1 hour special. Like, bro, that's not going anywhere. But he's shooting his special, which will land somewhere very big, and that's happening at the DuSable. There's never been a special shot at DuSable. So we were intentional about it. We're going to continue to be intentional about the moves we're making again, because you can follow the other festivals that have been around, but what makes this unique in the lane we're in is just building like a niche product. So yeah, it's comedy, yeah, it's a festival, but at the end of the day, I'm confident that we're going to be that spot that 4 years from now, every entity streaming network is going to be like, we have to go there, because that's like our NBA combine. I'm going to go there and I'm going to find 4 or 5 superstars, right? And not that they can't go other places, but like we can go there and we can cut our work. We don't have to build anything internally. We don't have to do this, do that. We just go to the What's Funny Comedy Festival every year, and we're going to go find our next Lil Rel, our next Deion Cole, etc. And so as we do that, we want to bring those people to these places that we want to see grow and strive and prosper, etc. So we were super intentional. Chicago's a big city. We could have went to a lot of different places.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go to places that made sense for the culture.
Is it going to stay here? That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we may be able to do something that like some of the festivals that came before us were attempting to do. I think we have a chance to we could spread this out for real and do something very, almost like, I mean, this is something I ain't really talked to him about, but because it's a lot of work, but it could almost be year round in a way where this is this time for Chicago and this time is for this and this time is for Houston. And so it's a way to really take this to a whole nother level, even just going overseas, man. And just like, I got like African connections with like, it's African comedians I'm really good friends with, and they saying this, they hit me up like, this is really cool what you do. Man,
that'd
like
be dope.
it can, and look, you know, when you dealing with, it's actually, this is what another thing too, you're putting a spotlight on the local comics, the local talent. You know, people forget how we used to make local talent stars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about not just from Chicago, from all these other cities, which is why even when I go on the road, it's always important for me to book somebody from that city. The last six or seven dates I've done on tour, I literally just grab my openers from that city. Even if I meet a comic, I'm like, man, send me 8 people. You know what I'm saying? Let me look at their stuff. You know what I mean? Just giving out that type of opportunity to the local comics. And so like, you know, we brought up where these locations are, like doing at Don Ski Spot, like Bar 10, which they do every week. Hopefully after this festival in Chicago, we start to see more of those spots again. Because it wasn't about the comedy clubs. You could make any spot, just find a cool spot where people feel comfortable at, even if the food is, whatever it is.
Yep.
We had, like, I remember Marlon Mitchell had a spot called Giovanni's.
Yeah.
It was a pizza spot. I don't even know if the pizza was good, but you wouldn't have some pizza, and it was comedy every Friday. You know, I miss those things, man. And hopefully with this festival, we able to like re-energize everybody to want to do that again. Because guess what? We come back with this festival again, you got a spot that's already popping. We coming right to you.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
But it's up to the viewers that's watching this as well, right? Like it's a you got two sides of the coin, right? The comedians are gonna hold up their part to do the funny, but also people got to come out, right? It's got real easy for us to be entertained with that phone, etc. Chill, not come out, pay that 10, pay that 20. Saw a message Monique did the other day, and she was shouting out Mary Lindsay about how she put so many people on and gave them opportunities. But she was like, come out to these comedy clubs, come out to these types of things, because again, we can do the festival, and I'm sure me and Rel can be like, I mean, with this, we can be like, call Sid, call so and so, call. We could have just did that and had a bunch of big name people, and everybody would have run out, grab tickets. But what about these other folks that we got here that are just as funny and will be said and can be so and so? Somebody has to get that opportunity, but they can't do it in an empty club either, because somebody like me do it for a month and be like, I'm cool, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to lose money. So it's also people that are checking this out that also has to come out and support festivals like this at the end of the day. That, again, I can guarantee you, I'll give you your money back for any show you come to and it's like, oh, that show was whack, because I know it's not. We can't do a whack show because we've curated this to make sure that the funny is not anything that you have to worry about. We just need people to come out, even if they don't know a name, trust his brand, right? For those who know me, trust my brand, trust some of the work that I've done, and knowing that at the end of the day, with the vision that we have, you're going to get excellence. So, but we need the support of the people to keep moving.
Well, and just to add to that too, that's why it's so important to understand the business of it. And also understand that, like, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be a big name. Like, we can't overcharge the people neither. I did What They Do Wednesday was $5 every Wednesday. Cool. You know what I mean? I'm being real. Like, let's think about the working. Like, if you trust your funny, then you could start. You got to build it up. That's all I'm saying. And I think hopefully we're teaching comics that and the audience that, because it is a. I do think Chicago's hungry for it though. I think this is a great stand-up city. I just would like, for me, I think I'm still leaning into the comics because I want to see more effort into that. Okay. You know, I don't, because people will complain, well, the people don't come, but like, what product are you giving them though?
I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Like how,
you know what I mean? Like,
how you present it, because I was telling him about even just us putting this together. I work with Leon, so like most of the comedy spots that I hear about is like Bart's here, and that's it, because he's like the only comic that I really see on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people in my lane, in my generation, we don't know where we could find comedy shows unless it's like a B. Simone or a DC Young Fly.
And I built relationships with y'all. Give me some, like Tone Capone, right? Mm-hmm. When he was at Power, him at what was it, Tone and Shaq?
Tone and Shaq.
They were new, like we was all new. So it's like, let's build relationships. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? I was doing Akon for they show, like doing different characters for free. Mm-hmm. Every single day.
I didn't know, on the radio.
On the radio. I was doing P.D. Pablo one time thought, I don't know what he thought. He was like mad about it. But like, because I was doing him, because I thought P.D. Pablo was so funny to me, so I made up a P.D. Pablo character. But I love that Tone and them gave me, because they were new, we were new. We were just like, yo, let's just do it. Let's just have fun. Mm-hmm. And then they started coming to the shows, and like that's how that works. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what everybody's grind is.
Yeah.
Because it's about relationships. Even with Don Ski, that was a marriage to have What They Do Wednesday and have an after party at Teeny Martini every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Teeny Martini.
Or Divine. Mm-hmm. It was just, that's what we did.
Damn, Teeny Martini, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just those type of.
We gotta get back to that.
We should do a collaboration. What's the word? And What's Funny Comedy? We should do it.
Sure.
We should do at least a monthly joint. You all got a great following. We can make that happen easy.
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it. That was one of the one of the main things why we wanted to do this, like get involved with y'all, because Bree was saying like, yo, the comedy world, like we got to get in, we got to get connected with comedians and stuff like that.
That would help Chicago comedy. Like you give them that sort of spotlight, we make it hot. There ain't a lot of competition out here right now, and so I can see that as real.
That can, and it goes
80,
back
20,
to
like 80 to me, 20 to y'all is dope. No,
I don't know about that.
Talk about that later. Off the cameras.
You see how he try to dame that.
Right.
80-20. but also too, just real quick, and then I know we need to wrap up. But like, that's one of the important things about this festival too, is this like the upgrade of the new technology and everything that exists now. It's stuff that didn't exist when I was on my grind. Like, I think even we was talking to our team yesterday. Just even relationships you could build with the sponsors that we never seen before. We have all these sponsors. If I'm a comic and you got ice cream, I'm gonna do commercials for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything don't have to necessarily be TV commercials. It could be something you put online that go
Put on
viral.
good
Like
content.
it's just, I'm just trying to figure out.
How to make it make sense.
I want everybody to see, like, think out the box. It is not rocket science.
You would be surprised.
I get it.
Common sense ain't really that
You would be
common no more,
surprised.
real.
You would be surprised. I was gonna say, I think that should definitely be a question to be proposed on Wednesday when you got everybody together on the panel.
I mean, I'm gonna be saying that walking around here, just talking to them, because I really believe it's an opportunity for, like, once again, there's other things we're gonna do with this festival, which is like, I think that's what makes us stand out beyond any festival you have in Chicago in general, from the music stuff to other film festivals. Like, we're really trying to create opportunities.
Right.
We see that.
Like, for real, for real. And it's so many out here. I think I was watching them, like, promote the International Film Festival before I got here, because it's like their 20th anniversary or something. And they just happy just showing films.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but, like, y'all got this big park full of people.
Yeah.
You showing Jurassic Park, but do you have a local filmmaker that you can give opportunity to show their short? While you have all those people there.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, just, I don't know.
But
But
that's
we
why
got-
we have people like y'all in XL Film Fest.
shout out
We
to
just did
Troy.
the Black
Shout out to
Film
Troy.
Fest. That was
Yeah, yeah.
actually in the area.
Yep.
What was it, last month? We
Yeah,
covered it
last
last month. It was
Yeah,
a whole
August.
week.
So yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to them. Shout out to y'all. Closing out, we can't talk about comedy. We can't talk about Chicago without mentioning this person. And I just gotta ask you, Bernie Mac. To y'all, where does Bernie Mac rank in comedy of all time? And how important was it to have a Chicago comic like that?
Bernie, first of all, Bernie, we know Bernie's hysterical. But man, he's one of the most underappreciated actors. You talking about Ocean's 11? What, I don't care what you saw him in. If it was one scene or, like, honestly, I call myself from the Bernie Mac and Robin Williams school of acting. Like, those are my two favorite actors, actually, not just comedians, like for real actors, because the funniest people we know in the world can give you the most dramatic stuff. Like Above the Rim, I mean, Bernie's performance in Above the Rim is just not talked about enough. You know what I'm saying? Like when he tells the story of who Shepard was,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's dope. Like the brother range was insane, and so even with the Bernie Mac show, the honesty of it, right? And that was so Chicago. I don't care what nobody say. What you say is that Bernie Mac show was so Chicago.
It was Chicago. as
definitely.
hell.
Even just the way he was talking to them kids.
Yeah, it was Chicago.
It's how we've been talked to. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I rank Bernie as one of the greatest of all time. Like, he's somebody I wish I really could have had. Chicago.
Chicago. Right.
Chicago.
It's like he know we interviewing. Like, he gonna play.
That's his song.
Let me play my mixtape real quick. He got a clock radio on his mic. No, but yeah, Bernie. I think Bernie's one of the greatest to ever do it. Like, honestly, like he's man. I got the Bernie Mac Award, and I think I got it in 2019, maybe.
Yeah.
No, 2018, because I was shooting Uncle Drew at the time. And man, that was one of the most when his wife called me and said, we want to give you the Bernie Mac Award, like Comedian of the Year Award. That's still one of my favorite awards that sit on my shelf, just because Bernie means everything to me. I'm real good friends with his daughter Janice, who's one of my favorite people in the world. But man, that brother Bernie Mac, man, just authentic, just funny. I mean, that Def Jam. That first Def Jam, I ain't scared of you. People. I mean, some people know the backstory that somebody bombed him before that. That's why he said he was telling the crowd he wasn't scared of him because they booed the other
I
guy.
remember that.
They booed the guy off the stage before he went on. I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
Yeah, I remember
Which is
that.
why he was saying that.
Kick it.
Kick it. You don't understand. That's crazy to
That's
take.
dope,
It was
yeah.
loud boos in there just before he went on stage. And Martin didn't necessarily set it up for him to win. Like, he just brought him up.
Right.
And Bernie went up there and that's one of the greatest stand-up performances in TV history.
I remember my daddy showing me that.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of you, motherfucker. I wish they would have showed the guy getting booed, because it would have made more sense.
So what Rel gives you, he gives you like some Chicago insight, behind the curtains type stuff. Grab the What's Funny Comedy Festival Collector's Book. That'll be at all of our shows. It's a 24-page book.
It's a physical book.
Physical book. It's shouting out all of our sponsors. So many dope sponsors that we had that actually rocked with us. But then also, in addition to the sponsors, we have those stories. There's a really dope story interview with Ray Lambert, who was he was the owner of All Jokes Aside. So he has some Bernie stories. Damon Williams, who actually did an interview with Rolling Out, he actually has some dope Bernie stories. And so if you're checking this out, check out What's Funny Comedy Instagram page. Grab that book there. Rel, he mentioned kind of an old interview he had in there. That's from about 13 years ago, but it's video. You can see a self-tape audition, right? There's a show for USA where you see him reading. Like, this is early stuff. Before Get Out, before New York, before LA. And so, again, some of that too, like bringing some of this back to comedy, right? We're bringing back some structure to it. Not that it's not structured, but bringing back more structure. And then really a lot of information that he has to share with people. So my man got to get it off over there.
Before he starts playing us his mixtape.
Yeah, until we go ahead and download his new mixtape.
Let everybody know where they could get tickets if they don't know.
No doubt. So go to what'sfunnycomedyfestival.com, what'sfunnycomedyfestival.com. You got shows Tuesday through Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday is a special taping of Lil Rel's 4th television stand-up special. That's special that you actually get to see him co-directing,
self-produced and I'm working with all independent filmmakers from here.
Okay.
Dope,
We
yeah.
love to
You know what I
hear it.
mean? So this is special, and it's some of the best filmmakers are in Chicago, like for real.
That's what's
And
up.
Friday and Saturday, you get a treat, right? So Friday, we got 2 shows, 7 and 9, but each show is a different lineup. So you buy a Friday pass, you're literally going to see like 14 comics, and they're all crazy.
So you go to both shows if you buy a Friday pass.
Yep.
Friday pass, 1 pass, you get both shows, and then the same thing Saturday, which we have Sherry Shepherd headline in the big show, hosted by Damon Williams. So again, try to get out to as many shows as you can. You're going to fall in love the way he fell in love and the way he really made me fall in love with it. You'll fall in love if you give it an opportunity, especially with the way that we curated this show here. So
If you tired of just partying and doing all that,
I am.
just come laugh.
I'm
like
an
if you
auntie.
love to laugh,
I
like
got on my auntie outfit.
that's a perfect outfit for it.
That's what I'm looking to do.
You look
I
comfortable.
wore this for the What's Funny Comedy Festival.
Hey,
that's
boy,
what's
Tish.
up, man. We appreciate you all. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate the
For
collaboration.
sure.
All right, appreciate y'all. Good show. All right.